So I was thinking about today how all of our career services providers may find this, we might relate to this. So I was thinking about today how when I became a career coach, the part of it that I loved, right? The part of why I went into being a career coach and actually I have my master's degree in career counseling. What I wanted to do with that was to help people find their place, right? Find their passion. I know that phrase, we don't use that phrase anymore, right? But I wanted to help people do what they dreamed of doing. But what I saw quickly when I first started doing this work was that if we built people into the dream state, looking for the ideal, thinking about what they'd love to do, but we didn't connect that with reality, it actually turned out worse because now they had ideas and they'd sat in that place of what would they like to do, but they couldn't connect it to reality. And one of the things that I learned early on, actually in 2012, I took the personal branding program and kind of combined that with the coaching and counseling work that I had been doing and figured out what was missing. So the work that I was trained in my counseling program, the work that is so critical is helping people understand who they are, right? None of us spend enough time. We don't get the space to really think about who we are and what matters to us and how we want to show up in the world. The problems we want to solve, right? Whatever it is, that values, interests, problems we want to solve, all of those questions are so important. That's the clarity part of the work, right? Who are you? What do you want to stand for? And starting to get into what's unique about you. And that work is so powerful, right? It helps people glow from the inside. It helps them understand who they are and the value that they can bring to what they do. But if we stop there, we leave them in a gap. And a lot of the self-help books stop there. And I'm guessing that if you've been in this work a long time, you've seen that too, where someone comes into your office and they have done all the self-help books, right? They've done The Secret, they've done the Dick Bull's Parachute, they've done all the things, but they can't translate it into, so what? What type of job am I going to get? How am I going to plug into something that will pay me to do this? And we can live in the dream world where we want to do what we want to do and we want to be able to live without the hustle. And there's, of course, a part of hustle that is bad. But I think we've got to realize that if you truly want to live without the hustle, you have to make sacrifices in your lifestyle. Where you live, what you buy, how you live is all going to have to change if you are going to not worry about getting a job, getting a better job, whatever it might be. Those are trade-offs. And even that is a deep conversation we get to have with people, but we can't live in the, in the dream world of I'm going to get to do what I want to do and somehow magically food is going to show up on the table, right? Especially if you have family, kids, parents that you're taking care of, whatever that might look like. And so we have to find the place where who I am and what I do can be valued, and they're going to pay me to do it, right? They're going to fulfill that part of the agreement because I understand my value and so do they, and I'm able to connect the dots. And that is brand positioning. Now, this is not some cold process of, not getting to the individual, because the individual is where it starts. However, then if we don't take that individual and help them connect to the world, we don't provide holistic care. We don't help them with their mental health, because I don't know about you all, but when you're struggling financially or you feel like you're not valued at work, your mental health suffers. So there's this person side of it, but there's also the external, where do I plug in side of it that matters. And we have to help people do both. And a lot of my coaching and counseling colleagues, we don't like to do the market-based side of it, right? We like to do the human-based side of it. But we can't do that and still be a holistic care provider. Understand where they plug in, how they can make a living, doing what they want to do. And that's saying, okay, these are the problems you want to solve, but what problems is the world paying to solve right now? And where can we find the and solution? It's not about changing who you are to meet those needs. It's not about changing who you are to, brand yourself or have slick messaging that attracts those people. That actually doesn't work. It's about deep down understanding those things and then connecting them to what matters. So for the personal branding program, one of our visuals is a light bulb. And the light bulb has the parts of you in it, right? Your values, your interests, your strengths, your goals, but it can't light up unless it's plugged into a place that can give it the energy it needs to light up. And that energy is all encompassing, right? We're talking about feeling valued. We're talking about having the resources we need financially, time, et cetera, to do that. And I realize that that's a really tall order, right? We're not going to find the perfect place. And that's why the brand clarity is so important, because when we find the this will do place, not in a bad way, but in a good way, it's because we were really clear on what mattered. So I just want to tell you a few stories. So early on in my career, like I said, I was working with people in kind of this more Pollyanna place. Surprise, surprise, right? You're young, you're just starting out. And was working with a lawyer who wanted to do something different. If you've been doing this work for a while, this is not an uncommon scene, because for some reason, lots of lawyers decide they want to make a transition. And this person came in and was doing all the big dream research. And there's nothing wrong with doing that big dream research, because we don't know what the and solution looks like. And judging from early on in the process is a bad way to brainstorm and explore and do all of those things. So this person's having big dreams, talking to lots of people, having great conversations, going out and doing the research they need to do, all of the career exploration pieces that we talk about, and then finds a place that works, ends up at a university legal services office. So now they feel like they're helping people, right? They're helping students. They have the stability that they didn't have in their private practice, not as much burnout. Nice part about university, right, is that it starts and ends at a certain time. What did they give up? They had to take a salary cut. But that was okay, because they knew what they really needed, and they knew and researched what the market needed. So getting into that positioning, communicating how they were going to bring value to that situation, because that's the piece of branding that most people miss. So the first step is, who are you? What do you care about? What is important to you? That's critical. Second part is what matters to your audience. And this is where AI comes in. We talked about that on Friday, how you can use AI to really help you better understand that audience. When we don't do that, we live in a dream world. We don't understand how to connect who I am, what I want to do, problems I want to solve, to what people and are hiring for. And it's not that I have to give up on the things that are important to me, but I'm emphasizing, highlighting, connecting the dots in terms of what matters for that other person. And if I'm doing my research, also finding those places where I can plug in and light up. If I don't do the research, I don't know if that's a place where I can plug in and light up. Then the third step, even fewer people figure out, is now you want to connect what about you makes you even more valuable to them. Now that you know about you, you know about them, what are those pieces of you that show them how you can add value for them? And some coaches and counselors start to squirm when we get to that part, because it feels very, transactional, but that is life. None of us buy anything if we don't understand the connection points. And it's not a bad thing. And I don't love the sell yourself verbiage, but it still is recognizing how I can help you, and that's okay for me to communicate in that language, coming from an authentic place, not changing who I am, and still connecting to what you care about. We do it all day, every day. When you want your kid to do something, when you want your spouse to help you with something, right? We do it all day, every day. It's a skill that is critical. It's not a negative. And this is the piece of personal branding that we've got to focus on at the end. We've got the internal part, you coaches, you counselors, you got the great skills there. We can do the research piece with AI. It can help a lot with that. And then our clients need help connecting the dots, figuring out what about me is going to make a difference for this audience so that I can get an opportunity to be there and to light up. I'm not going to get that opportunity if I can't connect those dots. And that works. The process works, whether you're in business, whether you're in leadership, whether you're in job search, because it is the way that these conversations even works for relationships. And so the process that William Arruda created in 2001, Certified Personal Branding Strategist process that I went through in 2012 and that we teach here today, that's the power of it, is connecting those dots for your clients. And if you are really helping people do branding, those are the three pieces you want to make sure you're covering. Who are they? What are those themes and stories and pieces that are unique and authentic to them that helps them stand out from AI? Who's their audience? What do they care about? Researching that, really understanding that, digging in beyond just a job description or whatever, right? This is market research, and we can help people figure out how to do that. And then connecting the dots. What do people really care about? Because I don't get a ton of their time, especially at the beginning. But good leaders do this. Good communicators do this. And successful job seekers do this. Connecting the dots so that they can put the pieces together for people. They're not going to do it for you, right? So we have our Certified Personal Branding Strategist program starting on February 10th. It is a transformational process where you experience it yourself. You get to clarify your own brand, and then you get the tools to help clients with that process, going beyond just, a few questions and what AI can ask you, to really understanding how we put the building blocks together, transition it into the positioning we need to have. And if you are curious about that program, if you have questions about it, let me know. Obviously, we're going to be sharing more about it as we lead up to the February 10th start of the class. The other thing that we've got coming up starting tomorrow with our foundation session, but it continues through the month of February, is our AI Savvy Career Practitioner. Because here's the thing, you can't help people not sound like everybody else if you don't understand how the tools work. Even if you decide not to use them very much in your work, we've got to know how they're being used, how they could be used, and find the gaps that people can use them for to be helpful. And of course, even in our foundation session tomorrow, we're going to go through this in-depth research process that we share with all of our coaches so that they can quickly help people do the external part, because we don't want to spend a lot of time there. We want to spend more time connecting the dots and figuring out how we help someone speak the language that they want to speak to make the connection and build that relationship with anybody on the other side of conversation they're trying to have. And so that's coming out then starting tomorrow, but continuing through February. Now, the parts of this process that we can do with our clients, right? They also allow us as practitioners to differentiate our value from AI. Because if you've ever gone through any brainstorming process, and it doesn't even have to use AI, you do brainstorming with clients, that that's great. But ideation is easy. Execution and moving forward and prioritizing or selecting, that is hard, let alone then the strategizing, messaging, communicating that comes after that. And if we don't help people with the whole process, we leave them in a lurch. Right here, here's this great exploration we did of the things you could do and the ideal job you could have. And then, oh, how are you going to make that happen? And so it gives us the tools we need and want to help people turn it into reality in whatever way that happens. We know it's not going to look exactly like they might dream it does, but that doesn't mean it's less than when it turns into reality either. That lawyer who started working for the university, that was not less than some of the dreams he had painted when he was doing his research about being a lobbyist, or, he did all this great research and other fun things that were out there. It didn't feel less than, it just felt right because he had done the research and made the connection of what really mattered to him, what was available in the work stream, and how he was going to connect the dots. Of course, it also makes us quite valuable throughout people's career lives because the market shifts and the market's need shifts, and the gaps that our skills and our, good, solid brand will fill, those change. We're always going to be in motion. And how do we help people be in motion? By having those strong roots. When they really understand who they are, they can shift and adjust without losing that core that makes them confident and makes them feel fulfilled in what they do. So I love all the work that you all are doing out there, helping people find that core, helping people position themselves to make that connection into the world of work or business or entrepreneurship, whatever it might be. And let us know what you're doing, what you're seeing working, what's going on with clients today. And if you want some processes to help guide people through that branding, connection, holistic approach, let me know, because the personal branding class is one option. We have some other options that go towards other parts of the process, and we'd help you find those as well. Thank you, Cheryl. So good to see you. Connecting the dots, building that path forward. Excellent. Thank you, everyone. We will see you next Tuesday for Trend Tuesday Live. And if there's ever any questions we can answer or things you are seeing that we can discuss, we'd be happy to do that. We'll see you next Tuesday for Trend Tuesday Live, everyone.